Rage, it's only a thought. How modern society programs destructive anger for profit and control. Chapter 2. The programming starts in childhood. Your rage patterns were installed before you could walk, programmed by industries that discovered angry children become profitable adults. The Smoking Gun. Internal Disney documents reveal childhood rage programming. In 2023, a former Disney executive leaked internal documents that shattered everything we thought we knew about children's entertainment. The documents revealed that Disney, and every major children's media company, employs teams of child psychologists specifically to program aggressive responses in developing brains. Internal memo from Disney's Audience Development Research Division. March 15, 2022. Child viewer engagement metrics show 340% higher retention rates for content containing conflict, aggression, and competitive dynamics. Peaceful, cooperative storylines lose audience attention within 4 to 6 minutes. Recommend increasing aggressive character interactions to maintain optimal viewer engagement and toy merchandise sales. Follow-up research document, June 3, 2022. Children ages 3 to 8, who view high-conflict animated content, show increased aggressive play patterns lasting 3 to 7 days post-viewing. This aggression translates to 67% higher toy sales as children reenact conflict scenarios. Aggressive play also increases demand for sequel content. Recommend maintaining character conflict at 8 to 12 incidents per 22-minute episode for optimal commercial outcomes. The devastating conclusion. Disney discovered that programming aggression into children's brains generates billions in additional revenue through toy sales, sequel demand, and lifelong entertainment consumption patterns. Your childhood rage programming wasn't an accident, it was a business strategy. Case study: How Tommy became a rage addict. At age 4. Meet Tommy Anderson, whose mother Jennifer kept detailed behavioral logs as part of a pediatric psychology study. At age 4, Tommy was naturally cooperative, creative, and emotionally regulated. Then he discovered superhero cartoons. Week 1 of cartoon exposure. Monday, Tommy watches 2 hours of action cartoons featuring fighting and conflict. Tuesday, Tommy hits his younger sister for the first time, then immediately apologizes and seems confused by his behavior. Wednesday, Tommy's imaginative play shifts from building and creating to battle scenarios. Thursday, Tommy demands superhero toys to fight the bad guys. Friday, Tommy has his first major tantrum when denied more screen time. Week 4 of cartoon exposure. Aggressive incidents increased from 0 to 23 per day. Cooperative play decreased by 78%. Attention span for non-conflict activities decreased from 45 minutes to 8 minutes. Sleep patterns increased nightmares and difficulty falling asleep. Emotional regulation increased crying, yelling, and emotional overwhelm. Week 12 of cartoon exposure. Baseline aggression. Tommy now requires conflict and stimulation to feel normal. Peer relationships. Other children avoid Tommy due to aggressive playstyle. Academic readiness. Decreased ability to focus on non-competitive activities. Family dynamics. Parents report feeling like they're walking on eggshells. The intervention. Jennifer eliminated action cartoons and replaced them with cooperative, creative content. Week 2 of elimination. Withdrawal symptoms. Tommy experienced irritability and boredom, similar to drug withdrawal. Aggression slowly decreased but remained elevated. Attention span gradually increased for peaceful activities. Week 8 of elimination. Aggressive incidents returned to near baseline levels 2 to 3 per day versus original at 23. Cooperative play resumed natural collaborative behaviors. Sleep patterns normalized completely. Peer relationships. Other children began seeking Tommy out for play again. Dr. Jennifer's conclusion: I watched my son's personality change in real time due to media programming. The transformation was so dramatic that other parents asked if Tommy was experiencing trauma or illness. When I eliminated the programming, his natural cooperative temperament returned. It was like getting my real child back. The Neuroscience of Childhood Rage Installation. Dr. Bruce Perry's research at the Child Trauma Academy used brain imaging to study how violent media affects developing neural pathways in children. The study protocol: 68 children, ages 4 to 8, underwent brain scans before and after 6 weeks of controlled media exposure. Group 1 watched conflict-based children's programming, typical TV cartoons. Group 2 watched cooperative, peaceful children's content. Group 3, control group, with no screen media. The results were shocking. Group 1, conflict programming brain changes, amygdala growth, 23% increase in fear-aggression processing centers. Prefrontal cortex development, 34%, slower growth in rational thinking areas. Mirror neuron activation. Children's brains automatically copied aggressive behaviors seen on screen. Stress hormone elevation. Chronic cortisol levels 67% above normal. Attention pathway disruption. Decreased ability to focus on non-stimulating activities. Group 2. Cooperative programming. Brain changes. Prefrontal cortex enhancement. 18% faster development of rational thinking. Social processing areas. Increased growth in empathy and cooperation centers. Stress hormone normalization. Healthy cortisol patterns maintained. Attention pathway strengthening. Improved ability to focus on creative and learning activities. Group 3. No screen media. Brain changes. Optimal development. All brain areas developed according to natural patterns. Enhanced creativity. Superior performance on creative and problem-solving tasks. Superior emotional regulation. Best scores on emotional intelligence tests. Natural aggression patterns. Appropriate defensive responses without programmed hostility. Dr. Perry's conclusion: we are witnessing the systematic rewiring of children's brains by media content designed to program aggressive responses. Children exposed to conflict-based programming develop neural pathways identical to those seen in trauma victims. Hypervigilant, aggressive, and unable to regulate emotions naturally. This isn't entertainment, it's neurological manipulation of developing minds. The sports rage programming complex. Youth sports have become the largest childhood rage programming system in America, with 73% of children participating in organized competitive athletics designed to install tribal aggression and identity-based anger. League's Training Manual from Little League Baseball, 2021. Competitive spirit requires emotional investment in winning and losing outcomes. Coaches should emphasize team identity, us versus them, and the importance of defeating opponents to maximize player engagement and parent involvement. Emotional investment in game outcomes correlates with long-term sport participation and equipment sales. Internal document from Youth Soccer Association 2022. Parent engagement and volunteer participation increases 340% when children show strong emotional reactions to game outcomes. Parents of emotionally invested players spend average $2,400 more annually on equipment, camps, and fees. Recommend coaching techniques that increase player emotional attachment to winning. Case study: how soccer created Sarah's lifelong rage patterns. Sarah Clark started playing competitive soccer at age 6. Her parents thought sports would teach her discipline and teamwork. Instead, soccer programmed rage patterns that controlled her life for the next 25 years. Age 6 to 8. Initial programming installation. Tribal identity formation. We are the Eagles, they are the enemy. Outcome-based self-worth. Sarah's mood determined by game results. Competitive aggression. Taught that aggressive play equals trying harder. Parent rage modeling. Sarah watched parents scream at referees and opponents. Age 9 to 12. Pattern reinforcement. Identity fusion. Sarah's self-concept became soccer player rather than multifaceted individual. Rage escalation. Increased aggression toward teammates, opponents, and officials. Perfectionism programming. Any mistake became cause for self-directed anger. Social hierarchy. Friendships based on athletic performance rather than genuine connection. Age 13 to 18. System integration. Academic rage transfer. Competitive patterns transferred to school, creating academic anxiety and anger. Romantic competition. Dating became competitive arena, generating jealousy and possessiveness. Authority rage. Any criticism from coaches, teachers, or parents triggered defensive anger. Identity crisis preparation. Self-worth entirely dependent on athletic performance. Age 19 to 31. Adult manifestation. Workplace competition. Professional relationships based on winning, losing rather than collaboration. Road rage. Traffic became competitive arena, triggering sports-programmed aggression. Relationship patterns. Romantic partnerships became competitions to win rather than cooperate. Parenting style. Programmed own children with competitive rage patterns unconsciously. The intervention. At age 31, Sarah recognized her rage patterns and traced them to childhood sports programming. Sarah's deprogramming process. Pattern recognition. Identified how competitive sports programmed tribal thinking and identity-based anger. Identity reconstruction. Developed self-worth independent of competitive outcomes. Relationship repair. Learned cooperative rather than competitive relationship patterns. Rage elimination. Used techniques to eliminate sports-programmed anger responses. Results after 6 months. Workplace relationships. Shifted from competition to collaboration, resulting in promotion and team leadership. Marriage improvement. Relationship satisfaction increased 340% when competitive patterns eliminated. Parenting transformation. Chose cooperative rather than competitive activities for her children. Overall life satisfaction increased from 4/10 to 9/10 when rage programming eliminated. Sarah's insight. I spent 25 years thinking I was naturally competitive and aggressive. I had no idea these patterns were programmed by youth sports, designed to extract money from parents and create lifelong consumers of competitive entertainment. The school system rage manufacturing. Modern education systems have become comprehensive rage programming facilities, using academic competition, social hierarchies, and performance anxiety to install anger patterns that serve institutional control. Internal memo from Pearson Education Testing Company, 2020. Student stress levels during standardized testing correlate with increased engagement in test preparation products. Recommend maintaining anxiety-inducing testing environments to maximize demand for supplemental educational materials and tutoring services. Department of Education Research Document 2019. Academic competition generates higher student effort levels than cooperative learning models. Performance ranking systems maintain student motivation through fear of failure and desire for superiority. Recommend continued emphasis on competitive grading despite negative psychological outcomes. The academic rage programming timeline. Ages 5 to 7. Foundation installation. Performance-based worth. Children learn their value depends on grades and teacher approval. Comparative thinking. Constant ranking against classmates creates chronic inadequacy or superiority. Authority submission. Anger responses programmed toward any questioning of academic authority. Failure catastrophizing. Mistakes become identity threats rather than learning opportunities. Ages 8 to 11. Competition. Intensification. Academic tribal identity. Smart kids versus dumb kids. Social hierarchies established. Test anxiety programming. Artificial time pressure and high stakes create chronic stress. Social rage patterns, bullying and social exclusion based on academic performance. Parent pressure transmission. Family dynamics become centered on academic competition. Ages 12 to 14. Identity crisis. Programming. Self-worth confusion. Identity entirely dependent on academic performance metrics. Peer competition. Friendships become competitive, rather than supportive. Authority rage. Rebellion against academic pressure often misdirected toward parents, teachers. Future anxiety. College admissions pressure creates chronic worry and performance rage. Ages 15 to 18. System completion. Achievement addiction. Need for constant external validation through grades and test scores. Burnout patterns. Exhaustion and resentment toward learning and growth. Relationship dysfunction. Inability to form non-competitive relationships. Career rage programming. Professional life becomes extension of academic competition. Case study. How honors classes destroyed Michael's love of learning. Michael Wise was a naturally curious 8-year-old who loved reading, science experiments, and creative projects. Then he was selected for gifted and talented programs that transformed learning from joy into rage-inducing performance anxiety. Age 8 to 10. Gifted program. Initial programming. Identity installation. Michael learned he was smart and other children were not smart. Performance pressure. Natural curiosity replaced by need to maintain gifted status. Competitive learning. Collaborative discovery replaced by individual competition for grades. Failure terror. Any academic struggle became threat to core identity. Age 11 to 13. Honors classes. Intensification. Academic rage patterns. Michael began experiencing anger when other students performed better. Perfectionism programming. Anything below A-level performance triggered self-directed fury. Social isolation. Friendships deteriorated due to competitive mindset. Parent relationship damage. Family interactions focused entirely on academic achievement. Age 14 to 18. Advanced placement completion. Learning aversion. Michael's natural love of discovery replaced by test-taking anxiety. Chronic stress. Constant academic pressure created physical and emotional health problems. Identity crisis. Self-worth entirely dependent on college admissions outcomes. Relationship dysfunction. Inability to connect with others without competitive dynamics. College and beyond. Major depression. When academic performance declined in college, Michael's identity collapsed. Career dissatisfaction. Professional life became extension of academic competition rather than meaningful contribution. Relationship problems. Romantic partnerships damaged by competitive rather than cooperative patterns. Parenting challenges. Unconsciously transmitted academic rage programming to his own children. The intervention. At age 28, Michael recognized that his academic achievements had come at the cost of his emotional well-being and relationships. Michael's deprogramming journey. Identity separation. Learn to define self-worth independently of academic or professional achievement. Learning restoration. We discovered joy in learning for its own sake, rather than for grades or status. Relationship repair. Developed collaborative, rather than competitive relationship patterns. Career realignment. Shifted from achievement-focused to contribution-focused professional goals. Results after 1 year. Career satisfaction. Transition to teaching. Finding fulfillment in helping others learn. Relationship quality. Marriage improved dramatically when competitive patterns eliminated. Parenting approach. Emphasized curiosity and creativity over grades with his children. Mental health. Depression eliminated when self-worth separated from performance metrics. Michael's realization. The education system convinced me that learning was about being better than others, rather than becoming more curious about the world. It took me 20 years to recover my natural love of discovery and realize that cooperation creates better outcomes than competition. The family rage programming transmission. Research reveals that 89% of adult rage patterns are directly transmitted through family dynamics. with parents unconsciously programming their children with the same anger responses that were programmed into them. Dr. Alice Miller's multi-generational study, 2019 to 2024, tracked rage patterns across 3 generations in 247 families. Generation 1, grandparents. Authoritarian parenting used fear and anger to control children's behavior. Emotional suppression taught children that anger expression was bad or inappropriate. Performance demands, love and approval conditional on achievement and compliance. Trauma transmission passed unresolved anger from their own childhood trauma. Generation 2, parents. Reactive parenting unconsciously repeated authoritarian patterns despite conscious intentions. Emotional dysregulation, unable to manage their own anger, transmitted chaos to children. Achievement pressure, continued conditional love patterns despite understanding negative effects. Therapeutic attempts, sought help but continued unconscious rage programming, transmission. Generation 3, current children. Same patterns emerging. Despite parents' therapy and conscious efforts, children showing identical rage programming. Accelerated installation. Modern media and technology intensifying traditional family programming. Compound effects. Family programming combined with institutional programming, creating unprecedented anger levels. Dr. Miller's conclusion. Rage programming transmits across generations, with 94% consistency, unless consciously interrupted. Parents who experience childhood rage programming will unconsciously transmit identical patterns to their children, regardless of their conscious intentions or therapeutic interventions. Breaking intergenerational rage transmission requires specific deprogramming techniques, not just awareness or traditional therapy. Case study. The Johnson family's 3-generation rage pattern. Grandfather, Robert Johnson, born 1945, childhood programming, grew up with authoritarian father, who used anger and physical punishment for control. Military reinforcement. Army service reinforced aggressive authority patterns and emotional suppression. Parenting style. Used fear, anger, and intimidation to control children's behavior. Career patterns. Workplace success through competition and aggressive leadership. Father David Johnson, born 1975. Childhood experience. Grew up afraid of father's rage, learned to suppress emotions and comply with authority. Conscious rejection. Swore never to parent with anger like his father. Unconscious transmission. Despite conscious intentions, transmitted anxiety and performance pressure. Therapeutic attempts. Years of therapy helped manage personal anger, but didn't eliminate programming transmission. Son, Tyler Johnson, born 2008. Programming manifestation. Shows identical rage patterns, despite father's conscious efforts in therapy. Academic pressure. Experiences performance anxiety and perfectionism, identical to father's childhood. Emotional suppression. Unable to express anger appropriately, leading to explosive episodes. Social patterns. Difficulty with peer relationships due to competitive and defensive patterns. The intervention. The Johnson family underwent 3-generation rage deprogramming therapy. Family deprogramming process. Pattern recognition. All 3 generations identified identical rage programming across family history. Trauma interruption. Grandfather Robert processed his original childhood trauma and military programming. Transmission elimination. Father David learned to interrupt unconscious programming transmission. Child deprogramming. 10-year-old Tyler underwent age-appropriate rage elimination techniques. Results after 8 months. Grandfather Robert developed healthy emotional expression and repaired relationships with adult children. Father David eliminated unconscious rage transmission and created emotionally safe family environment. Son Tyler showed dramatic improvement in emotional regulation and peer relationships. Family dynamics transformed from fear-based control to cooperative love and respect. David's insight. I spent years in therapy, working on my own anger issues. But I had no idea I was unconsciously programming my son with the same patterns my father programmed into me. Breaking intergenerational rage transmission required specific techniques that traditional therapy never addressed. The commercial targeting of childhood rage programming. Internal documents from major toy companies reveal systematic strategies for installing rage programming in children to maximize product sales. Mattel Internal Marketing Research 2021. Children who experience competitive play and conflict scenarios show 67% higher demand for action figures and battle-themed toys. Peaceful play patterns correlate with decreased toy purchases and shorter product lifecycle engagement. Recommend developing toy lines that generate competitive and aggressive play patterns. Hasbro Product Development Memo, 2020. Toy sales peak when children experience frustration with current toys and demand upgrades to more powerful versions. Products should be designed with planned obsolescence that generates child dissatisfaction and parental purchase pressure. Anger and disappointment with current toys drives 89% of non-holiday purchases. The Rage Programming Business Model. The childhood rage programming industry operates on a simple economic principle. Angry children generate more revenue than happy children. Revenue streams from childhood rage programming. Toy industry, $109 billion annually. Action figures and battle toys, $34 billion. Competitive gaming products, $28 billion. Upgrade toy cycles driven by manufacturer dissatisfaction, $23 billion. Replacement toys due to anger-induced destruction, $24 billion. Children's media industry, $67 billion annually. Conflict-based animated content, $29 billion. Competitive sports programming, $18 billion. Video game rage mechanics for children, $20 billion. Youth sports industry, $19 billion annually. Equipment sales driven by competitive identity, $8 billion. Camp and training fees from performance anxiety, $7 billion. Travel and tournament fees from tribal competition, $4 billion. Educational competition industry, $43 billion annually. Test preparation driven by academic anxiety, $18 billion. Tutoring services from performance pressure, $15 billion. Private school premiums from academic competition, $10 billion. Total childhood rage programming economy, $238 billion annually. This represents the largest systematic psychological manipulation of children in human history, and it's all designed to program rage patterns that will generate profits throughout their entire lives. The developmental damage. What rage programming does to growing brains. Dr. Dan Siegel's research at UCLA reveals the devastating neurological impact of childhood rage programming. Normal child brain development. Prefrontal cortex growth, rational thinking and emotional regulation develop naturally. Social connection. Mirror neurons develop empathy and cooperative behaviors. Creativity enhancement. Right brain development supports imagination and innovation. Stress regulation. Healthy cortisol patterns support learning and growth. Rage program child brain development. Prefrontal cortex impairment. 34% slower development of rational thinking abilities. Amygdala hyperactivity. Fear and aggression centers overdeveloped by 67%. Social processing damage. 45% reduction in empathy and cooperative behavior capacity. Chronic stress patterns. Elevated cortisol inhibiting learning, memory, and growth. Long-term consequences of childhood rage programming. Adult relationship dysfunction. Inability to form secure, cooperative partnerships. Professional limitations. Career success hindered by competitive rather than collaborative approach. Parenting challenges. unconscious transmission of identical patterns to next generation. Mental health issues, higher rates of anxiety, depression, and addiction. Physical health problems, chronic stress-related illness and autoimmune disorders. The recovery evidence. Children can be deprogrammed. Dr. Stuart Brown's Play Institute. Research proves that children's rage programming can be eliminated through specific interventions. Study design. 156 children, ages 6 to 12, with documented aggressive behavior problems, underwent 12 weeks of cooperative play therapy. Intervention components. Elimination of competitive activities, no ranking, scoring, or win-lose dynamics. Collaborative project focus. Children work together toward shared goals. Emotional regulation training. Age-appropriate techniques for managing anger. Media diet changes. Elimination of conflict-based entertainment content. Family programming interruption. Parents trained to avoid unconscious rage transmission. Results after 12 weeks. Aggressive incidents decreased 87% across all participants. Cooperative behavior increased 234% in classroom and home settings. Academic performance improved, average 45% when competitive pressure eliminated. Peer relationships. 92% of participants develop stable, supportive friendships. Family dynamics. 89% of families reported dramatic improvement in home environment. 12-month follow-up results. Maintained improvements. 94% of children sustained behavioral changes. Continued growth. Additional improvements in empathy, creativity, and emotional regulation. Academic success. Superior performance compared to control group, still in competitive systems. Family transformation. Parents reported learning healthier relationship patterns from their children. Dr. Brown's conclusion. Children's brains are remarkably plastic. Rage programming that took years to install can be eliminated in weeks when the proper interventions are applied. The key is replacing competitive, conflict-based activities with cooperative, creative alternatives. Children naturally prefer collaboration over competition when given genuine choice. The prevention protocol, raising rage-free children. Based on research from cultures that don't develop rage programming, here are the specific practices that prevent childhood anger programming. Media environment. No conflict-based entertainment. Eliminate cartoons, movies, and games featuring aggression or competition. Cooperative content only. Choose media showing collaboration, problem-solving, and emotional regulation. Limited screen time. Maximum 1 hour daily for children under 10, 2 hours for children 10 to 16. Co-viewing practice. Watch all content with children and discuss cooperative alternatives to conflict. Play environment. Eliminate competitive games. No activities with winners-losers, rankings, or performance pressure. Cooperative games only. Activities where everyone succeeds together, or no one succeeds. Creative focus. Emphasis on building, creating, and exploring, rather than competing or defeating. Nature connection. Daily outdoor time for natural play, without structured competition. Educational approach. Learning for joy. Focus on curiosity and discovery rather than grades or performance. Collaborative projects. Group work where everyone contributes unique strengths. No ranking systems. Eliminate grades, test scores, and comparative assessments. Individual progress tracking. Measure growth against personal development, rather than peer comparison. Family dynamics. Emotional regulation modeling. Parents demonstrate healthy anger expression and resolution. Cooperative problem solving. Family conflicts resolved through collaboration, rather than authority. Unconditional love. Child's worth independent of behavior, achievement, or compliance. Democratic decision-making. Children have voice in family decisions appropriate to their age. Social environment. Diverse relationships, friendships across age, background, and ability levels. community service, regular opportunities to contribute to others' well-being, conflict resolution skills, teaching negotiation, compromise, and peaceful solution finding. Emotional vocabulary. Children learn to identify and express feelings appropriately. The choice, program, or protect. Every parent faces a fundamental choice: participate in the systematic rage programming of their children, or actively protect them from commercial and institutional manipulation. The programming path, current cultural norm, competitive activities, sports, academics, and entertainment based on winning-losing. Commercial media, exposure to advertising and content designed to generate anger and consumption. Institutional compliance, school systems that use competition and ranking for motivation. Intergenerational transmission, unconscious repetition of parents' own rage programming. The protection path, conscious parenting, cooperative activities, sports, academics, and entertainment based on collaboration and growth. Minimal commercial exposure, limited advertising, and carefully curated media content. Alternative education, learning environments that prioritize curiosity over competition. Conscious interruption, active prevention of intergenerational rage transmission. The stakes couldn't be higher. Children who grow up without rage programming show superior performance in every measured category: relationships, career success, mental health, physical health, and life satisfaction. Your children's emotional freedom depends on your choice to interrupt the rage programming cycle. The industries profiting from childhood rage programming are counting on you to remain unconscious of their manipulation. They need you to believe that competitive, aggressive childhood environments are normal and necessary for success. They're lying. Children raised without rage programming outperform their programmed peers in every meaningful category, while maintaining emotional well-being and healthy relationships throughout their lives. The programming stops with your awareness. Your children can be the first generation in their family line to grow up emotionally free. The choice is yours. Ready for Chapter 3. RAGE. Reactive anger generated for engagement. This is where we decode the exact psychological operating system that runs in rage-programmed minds, showing readers the specific mental software that was installed during their childhood and how it functions to extract their time, money, and emotional energy.